The critics have been frothing at the mouth over Herdling. GameSpot slapped it with a 9/10, saying how it's all about its depiction of animals as unique individuals who, very much like us, are chiefly seeking love and safety. Bit highbrow bollocks if you ask me. So I thought I'd give it a proper spin and see what all the fuss is about. And truth be told, I did find Herdling intriguing, at times even captivating, but it also had me wondering if the reviewers over at GameSpot had been smoking crack. So put the kettle on, grab a cuppa, and let's dive deep into today's review. Herdling is a short game, 2 or 3 hours on the main story tops, and yeah, that might put some of you off straight away. Not me though, I might give it the full Billy Big Bollocks on this channel, but I've got time for a game that hits hard and leaves its mark. Length doesn't matter, ho-hum, if it lingers in your head after. Limbo did that with its moody horror noir vibe and gut punch of an ending. Bray did it with that twist, and then there's the goat of them all, Journey. Gorgeous to look at, soundtrack that gives you chills, and an ending that leaves your jaw on the floor knowing that you've passed the torch onto another player. So in theory, Herdling should have been right up my street, so why didn't I like it then? Well, the hard truth is this: Herdling is boring. Proper boring. I'm not exaggerating when I say I actually nodded off to sleep playing it. The biggest issue is that it forgets the medium it chose to make its point. This is supposed to be a game. Instead, about 80% of the time, you're just micromanaging the herd with endless mouse clicks. Barely any puzzles, barely any risks, just a click fest. And you play as a little lad who wakes up under a bridge in some grim city. It's dark, cold, and frankly, a bit of a shithole. Think Croydon. Now keep that in mind for later, because you're probably expecting some poignant theme about child homelessness or adoption, yeah? Well, we'll circle back to that in the story. For now though, you stumble around and bump into a creature, basically a jacked up goat, officially called a Calicorn. You tame it by holding down one button, and just like that, the scruffy thing trots after you. The fun bit is you get to name your Calicorns, and as the game rolls on, you collect more of these steroid goats. Before long, it was me and my full Cockney crew marching together, where I clicked away endlessly just to push them forward. The issue then is there is zero skill here, barely any stretch in working out how to free them from their issues, as normally it's a simple button click or pushing an obvious rock out the way. It's tedious stuff. And that journey itself, well, as mentioned, it's a BOREFEST. Sure, you'll cross some beautiful landscapes and wander through a few striking locations that really open the eyes. At times, it's even magical, driving your goat crew as one goes stomping through blue flowers to recharge their energy, then stampeding forward until the stamina bar runs dry. Those moments do shine, but the problem is, nothing much actually happens in them, and worse, they're hammered so often that what should feel special just turns flat. Another sweeping vista, another stampede. Been here before, mate. It's an overused mechanic where rarely you are struggling to deal with any risks. And I say rarely because there are a couple of minor gameplay twists thrown in. The main one is the giant birds that swoop down and claw at your goats. Look nasty, but the thing's blind as a bat, so these sections are littered with these little noise traps. Step on one, it crunches, and the bird comes swooping in. Your job is to guide the herd through the area without setting them off, which basically means holding down the mouse button so they shuffle along at walking pace. Too easy. Far too easy. The setup's actually pretty neat the first time, but it gets wheeled out again and again and again until it just feels like filler. The only other real threat I remember was later on, where cracks in the ice appear and you've got to steer your little goats and avoid them dropping to their doom. Again, very easy, and that's basically your lot. From there, the rest of the game is just herding with endless mouse clicks to climb up some big mountain. And if you like this content, give me one extra mouse click on the like button, as if herding your own goat to YouTube glory. I appreciate you all immensely. Now that for me is the real frustration. Herdling has so much going for it that it could and should have been an absolute banger. The premise is fresh, it's unique, and because of that it could have written its own rules. You're herding all these different goats of varying sizes, for example, so why not make the big ones key to puzzles that the little ones can't handle? Why not use the sheer numbers to unlock areas, forcing you to plan your next move? Instead, The only time you're asked to think is when you stumble across some bright yellow flowers where you march your herd into them and watch as they paint the stone wall that opens up the next section. And that's it. And the biggest miss of all, the story. You can tell the devs wanted immersion here. No HUD, gorgeous landscapes, lovely sound design, but by the end I couldn't help be thinking, what was the bloody point? I could do a GameSpot and waffle on about love and diversity or life being about the journey and not the destination, but that's just dressing up vagueness as arty wank stains. It doesn't make it clever, it makes it hollow. For me, the story was that little boy waking up under the bridge. I wanted to know his backstory. I wanted to understand if he'd lost his family, or maybe if the city was actually just a dream. Maybe he's trapped between worlds. Is it a metaphor for a broken heart? Or what about these creatures? Do they represent friends, family, or memories? Why drag them up to a bloody mountain? Is it heaven? Is it a release from the boy's pain? The game never answers any of this. It never alludes to it either. It doesn't give you the slightest hint. What you actually do is wake up, round up some bloody goats, paint a few walls, climb a mountain, and then boom, the credits will roll. And that's it. No twist, no hint of a deeper meaning, nothing to make you look back Sixth Sense style and go, now I get it. This is just a load of convoluted fluff for the sake of it, and yet the big outlets lap it up, clawing at straws to make this into something it simply isn't, as if to try and show some sort of intelligence. But I can assure you, when you see games like Stray, Braid or Journey, Herdling is nothing of the sort. So is it a bad game? Well, truth be told, I wouldn't even call it a game, but rather an experience. A boring one, sure, but a stunning one all the same. Graphically, it's not flexing ray tracing or ultra high fidelity models, but it doesn't need to. Instead, what this has is soul. I love the shift from grimy city streets to the ice-capped mountain. I love kitting out my little Calicorns with their own little trinkets that I found along the way. The colour palette is gorgeous here, warm, vibrant, almost cel-shaded, giving off proper Breath of the Wild vibes. Animations are solid too. The herd stampedes look great. Shadows, as basic as they are, just add that depth. Grass sways, trees bend, sunsets glow on the horizon. It's all beautiful until you realise the world itself is on rails, and I mean proper on rails. You're only ever nudged a bit left or a bit right to find some throwaway decoration. No sprawling landscapes, no freedom to explore. Instead, the game practically shoves your face at the vistas like the devs are patting themselves on the back saying, look how lovely this is, lads. And yeah, it is lovely, but it never serves a bigger purpose. And I know a game like Journey is the same, but it still pulled the reins enough for you to explore and do a little platforming here and there. But this just feels like you have a guide dog sitting next to you playing the entire bloody time. And what really stings is that the sound is genuinely stunning. Not a soundtrack you'll hum later, but an immersive one that wraps around what is shown on screen. The strings are spot on, swelling as you enter a new field, fading as you move on, giving that sense that something epic is about to unfold. Shame the gameplay don't match the energy that the sound team then have nailed here. Still, it is glorious work, and the ambient touches just seal the deal. Little birds chirping, the wind howling, and those jacked up goats grunting away like they're on their last hit of coke. It's wonderful stuff, and honestly, I can't fault it. So then where does my anger really sit with Herdling? Honestly, it's probably not with the game itself, but rather the fanfare that has developed around it. The press trying to turn it into something that it simply isn't. Reviews are subjective, sure. Everyone's got their own take, and I know plenty of you will disagree with me once you've played it, but my heart sinks when I see games like Expedition 33 or Kingdom Come 2 or Death Stranding 2, they get shoved aside for the Game of the Year category, so this sort of nonsense can take the spotlight. And that does happen, because hype is a strange beast. The cold hard truth is this though, Herdling is an experience, nothing more. You'll blitz through it in a couple of hours, you'll enjoy the landscape, you'll admire the sound, but sooner or later you'll realise that the gameplay is flat, the story non-existent, and the replayability close to the square root of sod all. Worst of all though, you'll feel the wasted potential here, because under it all there is a fabric of something that could have been really something special. So here's my own GameSpot style sign off. The creatures of Herdling remind us that life is like being clawed at by one of those big scary birds, only to survive and be rewarded with a pointless end. Until next time, my lovelies, love to you all. Reggie out.